We have some 25 minutes before the throw into the senior match. Let's turn again to our panel, to Gerlach Nan and Michael Dryden. Let's talk about this senior match. This has to be one of the hardest All-Ireland finals, Ger, I think, to call, as to know exactly where it's going to develop.
It's absolutely impossible to predict who's going to win this game, because going on our current form this year, both teams have got through the games to get to the All-Ireland. Now, you could argue that Wexford have been the more impressive, especially that display against Offaly here in the Leinster final. But this is the game that Limerick wanted to get to. All the other games were secondary to this. They were just a means to an end. Now that they're here, they have to produce the goods. Same way with Wexford. Great to win the Leinster final, but it's all about winning the All-Ireland. And so both teams, in a half an hour's time, it'll dawn on all of them that this is it. Now we have to produce the goods. And, anything. It could be a fluky goal. It could be somebody giving a great performance. That could be the difference between the teams in the end. But it looks like it's going to be a classic game.
Well, we hope so. We certainly hope so. Now, I was mentioning Marty Morrissey and Jim Carney. They have been reporting from the rival camps. Marty has been looking at the Limerick side of the story. Jim Carney, perhaps, will have news for us from Wexford and their change on the team.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, I can tell you that Limerick are lining out as selected, which means that Owen O'Neill passed the fitness test around midday today. They went down to Lucan Sarsfield's GA pitch. They had a severe test under Dr. Dave Boylan, and Limerick are ready for action. Just a little bit nervous, I must say, inside the dressing room. Not as relaxed as they were earlier today in Lucan, but that's to be expected. But everybody encouraging each other. Some people tell me it's better in the dressing room than 1994. What's it like in Wexford?
Well, in the Wexford dressing room, it's a cool, surprisingly relaxed scene there, but I did discover that the players and everybody involved are comfortably familiar now with that move of Larry O'Gorman back to left half back and George O'Connor in for Sean Flood, who's out, of course, with injury. I'm told that Paul Todd, who'll wear number 25, has been added to the panel. And I'm told as well that all the talking is done, the main talking, but just before they go out, Liam Griffin will talk in his characteristically passion-filled voice to the team and tell them what's required of them, and that Martin Storey, the captain, will have the last word. That's the story from Wexford.
Back to you, Michael.
Right, Jim and Marty, thank you very much indeed. So now, let's talk to the panel about that. Michael Dryden, Larry O'Gorman being moved from midfield, George O'Connor coming into the centre. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought they might go that way. George O'Connor is a very experienced player. He's been around for a long, long time. And it's great for George to get the chance. He's been hurling with Wexford for so long, and to be now playing in the Ireland final, it's great for him on a personal note. It's only 2 switches. Larry goes back. Larry O'Gorman is probably the best wing back in Ireland over the last 7 or 8 years. Great player. And he'll fit in there, and George will come in and he'll do okay in the middle of the field. He's physically very strong. Rory McCarthy was the other option, and against Limerick's midfield you need to be strong, because they're very strong. So I think George will be okay there.
And yet, Larry has played so well in the matches that he's played at midfield. We wondered would they make this move.
Yeah, he has played really well in the game so far, but you must remember, in the All-Ireland semi-final, he went back wing-back in the last 20 minutes, and he played his best hurling of the game, back at wing-back. Now, we presume that George will go on Sean O'Neill, who's a big, strong player, and I think Sean O'Neill will actually suit George O'Connor. They could cancel each other out. So maybe it mightn't be that bad of a move for Wexford. Sean Flood is a big loss, but this is really making the best of that option, I think, for Wexford.
Much from a Limerick point of view in terms of their success will depend on this run down the middle of the field. Kieran Carey making those breaks, Mike Houlihan around the middle, and obviously, of course, Gary Kirby as well.
Well, you see, there are so many ifs and buts and everything that can go in this game, and there are so many individual clashes that you think would be vital for the game, especially, we'll say, Gary Kirby and Liam Dunn. That's obviously going to be vital, and the same way with Kieran Carey and Martin Storey. But I think it will be an open game. I'd say this will be an open game. There should be good scoring in it, and as I said at the start, it's something will happen in the game. Maybe one player producing a big performance that will switch it in favour of his team.
Well, this is an interesting thing about Wexford, Michael. The matches that we've seen them play so far, say in the Leinster final, for example, Larry Murphy had a huge game. Then was quiet enough in the All-Ireland semi-final against Galway, but then other players produced the goods in the day. Rory McCarthy that day, actually.
I think that's always the way in the championship season. A different player every day will come good. Well, at least you hope someone will come good every day. We often see that with ourselves, like it could be John Troy one day or Johnny Dooley next day, and that's the way it goes in hurling. But overall, Wexford look very balanced side, and they're looking very strong. And Limerick are probably under more pressure.
Sure.
After being beaten in '94, they're back today, and not only a win in the All-Ireland is going to do them. Whereas Wexford, the pressure's off them. They're going to obviously out to win, but they're nice and relaxed. You could see them over there before the match, taking in the whole atmosphere, and there was no pressure on them. And so, like, maybe from that point of view, they'll be a little bit more relaxed and they might settle into the game a bit quicker.
While there's a brief lull at the moment, Michael and Ger, I just might mention that any moment the teams will be coming out, so we might suddenly be engulfed in noise, but I'm sure the people watching at home will expect that. Let's look at the two full back lines, because there have been sort of question marks about both full back lines, the Limerick and the Wexford team. As in fact the Wexford team, I'll interrupt myself at the moment now, because I gather the Wexford team are just about to come out onto the pitch. So let's hand over to Ger Canning, because I'm sure there is going to be one incredible din of noise when they come up here and their supporters can see them for the first time since 1977 in an All-Ireland final.
Yes, here they come from the new dressing rooms under the new stand. They're the first team out for the 1996 All-Ireland Hurling final, led by Martin Storey. And the splash of colour up there on Hill 16. It's a terrific occasion. And the cameramen, I think, caught a little bit by surprise, not realising that the team was going to come out from that end. They scampered across quickly then to be in position when the seat was repositioned in the centre of the field there for the photographs that matter so much. Full squad of players have done all the hard training. Going across there as well in the background, I see Billy Byrne. Will he be introduced at some stage or other? Perhaps he will. The Guiney twins there. It's all for one and one for all. And Sean Flood is coming across in the background. You'll see him coming into picture very shortly now. The injured player, there he is, that mop of black hair on his head. The left half back who couldn't quite make it because of injury. But he's there for that famous photograph. It'll be a lot more famous if they win the cup. They really were quite relaxed over there, smiling and chatting and having a bit of fun in the dressing room and out watching that marvellous minor match beforehand as well. As always, Larry O'Gorman chatting away there with them. George O'Connor, Larry Murphy, that's John O'Connor, George's brother. So many brothers in action this afternoon. Tom Dempsey putting on the white helmet. And the subs moving off. And this, the 15 who will start the match. George O'Connor there in the background. Martin Storey. And Limerick about to come out. Kieran Carey has been held up by one of them. Where over there? Now they get the signal. Joe Quaid and the rest. Tense in the dressing room, we hear, but they'll rid themselves of that tension fairly quickly. Back for the first time since 1994, wanting to banish the painful memories of the last 5 minutes of that particular final. Mike Houlihan's back. There up on the canal end and over the cross in the Hogan stand here. Flags flying proudly. Will it be Kieran Carey's big day? Can he dominate his patch? Can he negate the influence of Martin Storey, the other captain? It'll be captain marking captain this afternoon, we gather. But then, of course, game plans can change in just a matter of seconds. Declan Nash and his brother Mike alongside him. Gary Kirby, Patrick Swellban. What an influence he can have on this match. And one of the great defenders in senior hurling, Declan Nash. Take a quick check then on the two teams. Wexford filled the vacancy at left half back with Larry O'Gorman moving back, with George O'Connor partnering Adrian Fenlon. Elsewhere, Eamon Scallon returns to right corner forward alongside Gary Laffin and Tom Dempsey. Martin Storey goes for glory in his 25th championship match and bids to bring the McCarthy Cup back to Wexford for the first time since 1968. So a check on the opposition. And this is the same Limerick side which started against Antrim in the semi-final. New to the All-Ireland stage are four players: Sean and Owen O'Neill, Mark Foley at wing-back and Barry Foley in the half-forward line. The skipper Kieran Carey bidding to be the first man since Eamon Grimes in 1973 to return the Liam McCarthy Cup to Limerick. Indeed, he's promised it'll be in his native Patrick's Well by 10:30 tomorrow night. Oof. The cameraman tried to get the best possible picture, but it's all a bit chaotic. And that on a weekend when Michael Duxie Walsh of Kilkenny won his 12th successive Girls Sport All-Ireland Senior Softball Singles title at Croke Park here, defeating Walter O'Connor of Meath 21-13 to 21-11. Well, that was last night. This is today, and this is what it's all about, the 109th All-Ireland Hurling Final, where there's hardly a real favourite. Each county has lost its last 3 All-Ireland finals. Dave Mahedy there, just instructing the players who are going to start the match to pose for the photograph. Well, let's wish all the players the very best, while appreciating that the next 90 minutes or so will contain every emotion possible. Limerick going for an 8th All-Ireland, Wexford looking for a 6th. And Pat Horan, the man who'll be in charge there this afternoon with his team of officials. He's the 9th Offaly man to take charge of an All-Ireland hurling final. So the smiling officials there posing for the cameras. It's curious that when you look at Wexford's record over the years, they have as many hurling All-Ireland wins as football, but the footballs of course go back to the early years of this century. Liam Griffin there, just wishing the officials well. And for those of you who are fashion conscious and wonder whether Liam is in the shorts again this afternoon, well, he's gone for the legs of the tracksuit instead. Some of his players were joking that he hadn't the legs for shorts. But it's been that kind of marvellous atmosphere in the Wexford camp this year, matched by Limerick, I know. Well, that'll take a bit of getting off afterwards. Won't matter if they're taking back the cup round about 5 o'clock, however. It's been so long since these counties last met in the All-Ireland final. 1910 the counties first met, with Wexford winning by 7-10 to 6-2. Wexford represented by Castlebridge and captained by Richard Doyle, and Limerick represented by Castle Connell and captained by John Tyler Manley. And the only other meeting in a senior championship final was back in 1919. That was the delayed 1918 final, and Limerick winning on this occasion 9-4 to 1-3. So it's a title apiece as Martin Storey comes forward now for the toss. Kieran Carey's already there. So cool heads required here in the heat of battle. And you think about how one county this afternoon is going to just enjoy themselves enormously, and by 5 o'clock they will be in 7th heaven, and for the other it will be sheer misery. So let's see who wins what. It's Kieran Carey has won it, and I think he's opting to play from left to right in the first half as we look across. There's a slight breeze blowing down the field.
So then the toss has been made here at Croke Park for the senior final. A final word here on our panel from Gerloughnane and Michael Duignan about this. Ger, one thing that struck me watching the two teams run out onto the pitch, Limerick looked very tense.
Limerick are really hyped up for this game, very, very tense. It would seem that Wexford are a bit more relaxed. Now the danger time is now. You know, they came out, there's 20 minutes to go from when you come onto the field to when the game starts.
Yeah.
So there's a great chance they're being distracted or losing your concentration. And this is where the captains come in. I think their role now will be vital, because keeping your concentration and diverting all your energies into half-3, that's the crucial thing. Okay. And whichever team does that best will play best.
Want to put yourself and Michael Duignan on the line now. Final prediction.
I think the hunger that Limerick have and the desire they have to make up for 1994, I think that if they channel it in properly, I think they'll carry the day.
Well, Michael Duignan, you said earlier that Limerick's campaign all this year was to get them here to this day. Do you go with Limerick?
No. I couldn't agree with Gerloughnane anyway. I go with Wexford. I think that if they can reproduce the form they showed against us, I think that they'll win the game. The only thing I'd say danger is that Limerick's goal scoring potential is huge, and Gary Kirby is going to score a lot of points, and if Limerick get a few goals, they'll be in it. But I think that Wexford overall are a better balanced side, and I think they'll do it.
Okay, Michael Duignan says Wexford, Gerloughnane says it could be Limerick. I think there's a good possibility of a draw this afternoon. Let's go back again to Ger Canning.
Well, that would be the first time since 1959 that it was Kilkenny and Waterford, of course. So as Ger was saying, concentration now at this stage to be focused on the throw-in at 7:30. They're lining up to meet Her Excellency the President very shortly. And our analysts and pundits going down along provincial lines, as it were. And Tomas Mulcahy alongside me. You have a fancy for Limerick as well, I know.
Yes, just a slight fancy, Ger. I think that the whole lot of the forwards are going to have to play very well today. I just slight fancy. I think Wexford are a very, very good chance indeed, but I have a slight favourite for Limerick.
Her Excellency, President of Ireland, about to be introduced to the players, accompanied by GAA President Jack Boothman. Mrs. Robinson now pausing. So the President moves off to be introduced first of all to Martin Storey, who will introduce his colleagues. By the way, if you are superstitious, the new dressing rooms over are numbered 1 and 2, and the lucky one they tell me so far is number 2, and that's where Wexford are. So first of all, it's the team captain, Damien Fitzhenry. Colm Keogh there, who will be right cornerback this afternoon. Big Ger Cush from the Neaverna club, and then John O'Connor. That's Liam Dunn and Larry O'Gorman, Adrian Fenlon, and the unmistakable figure of George O'Connor, then Rod Guiney. That's Rory McCarthy there, Larry Murphy, Eamon Scallon then, the corner forward, Gary Lappin, and finally Tom Dempsey from Buffer's Alley. So a quick little chat there between the President and the Wexford captain, Martin Storey. She wishes him well, wishes the officials well also, I'm sure. The smiling figure of Jack Boothman, and this is last year as President of Scotland Lift. Now the turn of Kieran Carey to introduce Joe Quaid, Steve McDonough from Brewery, then it's Mike Nash and his brother Declan. We mentioned that there are many brothers involved here this afternoon. Dave Clark, that's Mark Foley. Then Mike Houlihan will be hoping to dominate his patch at midfield along with Sean O'Neill from Murrow Boher. Then Gary Kirby, the leading scorer. Barry Foley there is a nephew of Sean Foley, who played in 1973. On to TJ Ryan via Damien Quigley. And Owen O'Neill able to play, as you heard earlier on there. He passed a fitness test this morning out of the Lucan Sarsfields ground. So the President moves off. It's an absolutely terrific atmosphere here. Two counties who thirst for glory, and I'm sure the neutrals in the country today are having difficulty making up their minds as to who to go for, because we'd like to see them both win the cup.
Yes, Ger, I suppose. I mean, most neutrals, I mean, it's the unfortunate thing that the teams are in and haven't won it for a long time, and everybody wants to have a winner out of each one of those. But on today, there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. And that's the unfortunate thing about it.
Yes, the highs of glory and the depths of depression when you lose. But right now the parade and a moment of great personal pride for the respective captains. The Artane Boys band, together with the senior band, leading Wexford, who are on the right-hand side here. Martin Storey leading the way, just as Nick O'Donnell led for the Slaney Siders and was the only Wexford player to have captained 2 All-Ireland winning sides in 1955 against Galway and in 1960 against Tipperary. And the green and white of Limerick flying proudly up there on the canal end. And Kieran Carey leading the side there. The Shannon Siders being led by their number 6. Aware of Limerick's recent poor record in finals, that's in All-Ireland senior finals and club finals, but he follows the footsteps of the great Mick Mackey, who captained Limerick to 2 All-Ireland wins in 1936 and in 1940 against Kilkenny. Limerick's last All-Ireland triumph back in 1973, and of course from Wexford's point of view, their last success was 1968, a long time ago. A wonderful setting. People watching this match in so many parts of the world today. Been asked to say hello to Jack and Tom Cavan and their friends in Wexford and Dublin. Also asked to say hello and best wishes to Patsy O'Leary and the Irish Centre in Brampton, Toronto. That's from his family in Bunclody in County Wexford, nearer to home. I know a gentleman who's in Mallow, he's Michael Fahy, and he's watching this as well. And a former Wexford player whose sister wrote to me during the week, and that is Jim Ling, and he's watching it in New Haven in Connecticut. And Mary Cullen and all the Cullens and Lings wish you well, hope you enjoy it, wherever you're watching it all over the world today. We hope you have fun. because of the traffic congestion outside, quite a few of these people on the new stand over there didn't make it in for the start of the minor match, which was a great pity because they missed what was a terrific game. Remember, it is Limerick who won the toss, and they're going to play from left to right in the first half. They'll be playing into the breeze. Well, we talked about the breeze to Moss a little while back. Do you reckon it has changed at all?
No, Ger, I think it's favouring down the hill 16 slightly, but the battle has begun already. I think Limerick have broken away from the parade, and Wexford are intent to going up the hill 16 up to their supporters, and this is one that they will cherish.
Well, they haven't been here since 1977. You might as well enjoy it.
Exactly, yes. They're going to enjoy this one.
I think Limerick are very tense. We were talking about this a little while ago. And now, which approach would you prefer to be in if you were a player out there? Would you be one of the people who broke away, tense, anxious to get on with the business, make up for 2 years ago, or just have a good time and relax and enjoy yourself like Wexford?
I mean, I'm amazed looking at Wexford, they're so relaxed. I mean, Martin Story introducing these players that their president was clapping them all on the shoulder, and they look very relaxed. They're smiling. Limerick on the other side, they've been waiting a long time for this. They've been waiting the 2 years to get back here. They've been waiting in the hotel room all morning. This is the moment they want, and now the moment is here for them, and we just have to wait and see how they respond. They look very, very tense.
That's remarkable coolness by Martin Storey and by the Wexford players, just to continue marching along. There they are, looking up at their fans on Hill 16, thousands upon thousands. Wexford was terrific to be in over the last week, indeed over the last month or so. Splashes of colour everywhere. George O'Connor was telling me that there were tractors painted in the purple and gold of Wexford. We've seen cars painted in the green and white of Limerick also here in town today. So there's the Nally stand top left, onto the Hogan stand, the old section of Croke Park mingling with the new. This is one of the great days in Irish sport. Let's hope now the match can live up to that billing as Wexford continue to parade behind the Artane band, and Limerick now for the past 3 minutes have been in their places. Here they break. So Wexford have the wind at their backs for the first half. So a quick recap then on the Wexford team. The big news is that George O'Connor is drafted in because Sean Flood could not play because of a leg injury. Larry O'Gorman goes back to left half back, and George is in midfield alongside Adrian Fenlon. So lots of experience in there, lots of experience in Limerick as well. But the big news is that Owen O'Neill, who had a damaged ankle, he's passed a fitness test this morning. Dr. Dave Boylan and Dave Mahidi, the team trainer, gave him a fairly rigorous going over. They're satisfied, Limerick are happy, and it's the team that started the semi-final against Antrim. Eamon Scallon and Tom Dempsey have switched corners. Now Liam Griffin, a man with a mission, facing the tricolour, the national anthem. Got there just ahead of the band as usual. Our All Naveen is complete. The players are in the centre of the field waiting for the off. You'd expect George O'Connor playing today in his 35th championship match to pick up Sean O'Neill, and that's shaping up like it's the way it's going to be. Adrian Fenlon on Mike Houlihan. The band move off. It's absolutely packed to the rafters. Over 60,000 are in here in Croke Park for the 109th All-Ireland Hurling final. Tom Ryan patient and pensive as always, hoping to lead his side together with his subs, Bernie Savage and Liam Lenihan, or his selectors rather. Pat Horan gives the signal. The All-Ireland final is underway. Straight away it is Mark Foley, man of the match against Cork in the opening assignment.
Mr. Early indication there for the throwing ball. Sean O'Neill and George O'Connor going to have a great tussle.
Sideline ball to be taken here by Colm Keogh, or is it? And he's going to leave it there for Rod Guiney to come back and hit. Guiney, formerly from Rosslare, now playing his hurling with Rathnewer. That's a good cut into it. Adrian Fennell down towards Larry Murphy. Can he have a big afternoon here? Getting by Dave Clark. Mike Houlihan goes back to challenge. It's still Larry Murphy. He's in the clear. He's got a scoring chance, and he's put Wexford in front. Well, that's what the Wexford fans down in Wexford Park were telling me during the week. That's what they expected. A big showing from their number 12.
Yes, sure, see it again. Great play by Larry Murphy. Again, as he come away from Mike Houlihan here, had a chance to strike it first, but thought he was going to be hooked and ran on and put her straight over the bar. Great start for Wexford.
Joe Quaid. Gary Kirby under this one, with Liam Dunn, runs on beyond them. Instead it's picked up here by Larry O'Gorman, one of the great half-backs over the last number of years. Blocked down by another fine half-back, Mark Foley. That's a Wexford ball. It's Adrian Fenlon from the Referees Club who goes across to take this one. Referees Club in Enniscorthy, which is the home base, of course, of top referee Dickie Murphy. They chew the gum. They'll get through a fair bit of that this afternoon, I'm sure. It's very high in the air. Comes back out towards Frankie Carroll. And the tussle there with George O'Connor. Knocked on. Liam Dunn trying to knock it back. Scoot forward there by Barry Foley. Batted out very decisively indeed by John O'Connor to Adrian Fenlon. They chase in after this one, but it's going to be Tom Dempsey for pace, I'm afraid. Wexford settled down pretty well.
Yes, Wexford have settled down very well. And I mean, in usual games like All-Ireland finals like this, you're going to have the first 10 or 15 minutes. They're going to be a settling down period, and that's what we're going to go through now for the next couple of minutes.
Joe Quaid playing in his 13th championship match, and there's a concern about Gary Kirby. Dr. Dave Boylan is in there attending to the man with that stick. Dave on the left-hand side, who played his club hurling with Middleton. May well be a finger injury, possibly dislocated. Tom Ryan and Liam Lenihan, one of his selectors. Gary's back in business. Adrian Fenlon going for it, but it's with Frankie Carroll instead. Still making headway. Stopped by Adrian Fenlon, looking for support, getting it from Mike Houlihan. Decisively inside there. Runs on towards TJ Ryan. Trying to get it up onto a stick. So too is Colm Keogh. Keogh is a very good tackler. Not a good clearance after Frankie Carroll. Keogh's the second chance to make the clearance. Out by Jerk Hush this time. On the Wexford fullback. Completing the clearance. Adrian Fenlon leaving it behind, but he's got support through Larry O'Gorman. Against three Limerick men. One of them is Dave Clark. A huge one in towards Damien Quigley. The other Damien is there followed. Damien Fitzhenry. Long clearance downfield. Kieran Carey goes up there majestically to take that one down with the left hand. Swinging it across here. Referee says play on. It's taken by Adrian Fenlon, one of the other midfielders. This time for Wexford. Inside it goes towards Gary Latham. Again it's Kieran Carey. Magnet-like, getting it back onto his stick again. This time switching it towards Barry Foley. Rob Guiney in there alongside him. Guiney has it for Wexford. Again down into the corner. And Gary Latham doing well to keep it in play. Towards Eamon Scallon. Comes out again to Kieran Carey. Again a repelling clearance. Down to Gary Kirby. He'll hit it on his right-hand side, and Liam Dunn was expecting that, went in to block it down, got in tight on his man. Again the clearance down towards Tom Dempsey's corner. Limerick at 6s and 7s in their full back line just at the moment, and that one has gone wide. Second wide. Tom Dempsey now 31 years of age. He's been playing for Wexford at Inter-County Hurling for a fair long time. He was only 11 when he first played at under 14. Limerick against the breeze, remember. George O'Connor under it. But it runs on towards TJ Ryan for Limerick. Scooped inside nicely here towards Barry Foley. Foley, goal, great hook by Rod Guiney. Still Foley, trying to make progress. Out it spills towards Liam Dunn. Trying to get on the right side of TJ Ryan, supported over there by Rory McCarthy. Appeals all around, and it's going to be a line ball for Wexford.
Yes, sure, there's twice Wexford now, and the last two attacks, Frankie Carroll had an opportunity before that to put the ball over the bar, and he was hooked by a Wexford player. Again, you see it here, great defensive play. That's a great skill. I mean, a man going through and throws up the ball, and he's hooked from behind.
So it'll be Rod Guiney. Great stories about how Liam Griffin, when he was at one stage coming back from a match in Croke Park, and so many Wexford fans were frustrated, he put up a sign, Hurling practice tomorrow, and the Guineys came along to join him at a very young age, and here he is now playing in the All-Ireland final. Frankie Carroll, good block again, this time by Martin Storey, but it will touch as well by Storey. He's got a bemused look in his face, but the referee says free to Limerick. Glory Storey, as they call him. And that written on his hurley by a colleague from Oulart the Ballach, Liam Dunn. Gary Kirby, again, I think, concerned by that hand injury. It's a cut on the hand. Gary, so important to this Limerick team. The free is just inside the 65-metre line. And he wants George O'Connor back the requisite distance. Should be back 20 metres from a free, of course, in hurling. Looking for the first goal for Limerick, and he's put it over the bar. Limerick are on level terms, thanks to Gary Kirby from Patrick's Well. His first free, making it Wexford 1, Limerick 1. Happy, happy Limerick fans.
It was a great score by Gary Kirby, but he seems to be a bit anxious about his finger, Gerald. There seems to be a bit of blood spilling out, maybe from his index finger, and hopefully that won't prevent him from continuing on in the game.
Tuck out, drops on the 40, batted out by Kieran Carey towards Sean O'Neill. Driving it forward towards Gary Kirby, runs on. It's with Larry O'Gorman, now with Rod Guiney. Mark Foley, just fumbling initially, then pushed in the back by Rory McCarthy. That could be a very interesting tie indeed between McCarthy and Foley. Man of the match, of course, in the last game against Wexford. Here it was Mark Foley fumbling, then he went back, and then getting the push into the back for his troubles. From the corner with Damien Quigley, who's said to have settled much better in the last few weeks into the full forward role, which is fairly new to him. George O'Connor, after all the years of hard work in the Wexford colours, great to see him play in an All-Ireland final. Adrian Fenlon, nicely down there towards Eamon Scallon. First touch was poor. Stephen McDonough towards Frankie Carroll. Frankie does well. Keeps it away from Larry O'Gorman. There's his shot, and Limerick are in front for the first time in the match. Well, that's what they need, a huge return from Frankie.
Yes, a great score by Frankie, but Eamon Scallon at the other end will be very disappointed with his first touch, and Steve McDonough cleared up the ball up the feet to Frankie Carroll. Here we see it coming up again, and great play by Frankie. Picks the ball down very low to the ground and just turns and swings and hits it over the bar. Great score, and that's going to do his confidence a world of good.
Clash of the ash. Mike Houlihan up into the corner towards TJ Ryan. Limerick now trying to tick off the scores from distance. Again, it's Gary Kirby forward this time towards Owen O'Neill. John O'Connor in some trouble there, supported, however, well by Colin Kill, the other cornerback. Now George O'Connor, the hand pass towards Rod Guiney. He's got assistance if he needs it, but he doesn't. Down towards Gary Lapham. Gary, who's with the Army, swinging the stick and putting it to the right. 3 wides now for Wexford, raised by Gary Lappin, based in the Curragh, where he works as the carpenter with the Army. Liam Dunn trying to dominate his particular part of the ground. He was fouled, however, by TJ Ryan. And we've got some early news from the sideline now from our reporter, who is Marty Morrissey.
Thank you, Gerard. Just to tell you that Martin's story has caught the eye of Liam Griffin. Martin is complaining about studs. He needs a change of studs because he keeps slipping on the pitch. Also tell you about Gary Kirby. There's concern over his hand in the Limerick bench.
Well, there was concern there in the Limerick defensive area as Joe Quaid was called on to make the save. That's batted down there by Adrian Fenlon, and it'll be a Limerick ball. Yes, some running repairs to be carried out pretty soon, I'm sure, on Gary's finger and on Martin's studs. That's Mike Houlihan. Huge one. Dropping it right in. Jerkosh taking it down, doing well. Cross towards Rory McCarthy. Fast in there, however, is Mark Foley. Settling down well, Foley. Trying to get away from Rory McCarthy. Getting in his shot, but always going to the left of the post.
I think, Ger, some of the Limerick supporters there are shouting maybe to look for a free, for they push, maybe a jerk push on Damien Quigley at that stage. But I don't think that's the type of ball Damien Quigley is going to be looking for today. A high ball on top of a big man like Jerk Push is going to suit Jerk Push.
Limerick's ball. Once again, Mike Houlihan going back to take this one. Played here in the All-Ireland Club final against Sarsfields for his native Kilmallock, of course. Disappointed that day, disappointed in '94, looking for a third time lucky as Mark Foley, or Barry Foley rather, gets in here. A colleague of Patrick's well, and he makes it 3 points to 1. Very much new to the scene. Barry in just his 5th championship match. Supported by the wind. Doesn't go beyond halfway from that puck out there by Damien Fitzhenry. TJ Ryan on again towards Barry Foley, looking for 2 in a row. Terrific play. Barry Foley then causing a lot of problems for Rod Guiney, and he makes it 4 points to 1. Match still at the settling down stage, of course, just about 13 minutes gone. You know, Limerick will be delighted that players like Barry Foley and Frankie Carroll are off with the scores already. Everybody in the half-forward line has scored so far. Martin Storey trying to nurse that one down well towards Adrian Fenlon. Drops in to the waiting arms of Joe Quaid. And now a chance for Limerick to launch a counter-offensive. Rod Guiney again in some trouble over there. And here comes TJ Ryan. The hand pass forward there towards Damien Quigley. A promising situation here. He's got support inside. Didn't need it. Took his point from an acute angle. Well, Wexford may have got the first point, but that's the only one they've got so far. Limerick have come back with a vengeance. This is the latest one here, and they had a man over, and they also had Owen O'Neill waiting there, claiming that he could have probably put it in the net if he got that ball, but didn't do so.
Yes, sure. Maybe if Damien had capped the ball first time, he would have had a goal chance. But again, a great start by Limerick.
Mike Houlihan under it, so too Stephen McDonough. A little deflection there from Eamon Scallon, I thought, but it's going to be a Wexford ball in any case.
I think, Jerry, as you said there, the encouraging thing from Limerick is that 4 of the forwards have now scored, and they're not too dependent on Gary Kirby at this point.
Well, this was the question we asked yesterday, of course, in that discussion in Sports Stadium, whether they could win an All-Ireland dependent on just one man. They started well, but there's a long way to go. Here's Adrian Fenlon. Deep one inside there to cause problems, and again Joe Quaid didn't even take it into his hands that time. It was Tom Dempsey who was in trying to apply finish. Again it's Barry Foley who takes it, and Rod Garney's had a torrid opening to this match. Kieran Carey trying to be dominant there against Martin Storey, captain against captain. Now Tom Dempsey, 3 players against him. Declan Nash scoops it away. Back it again by George O'Connor, knocked out by Mike Nash this time, and finally it's Mark Foley. Back it comes here towards Larry O'Gorman, going for glory, and he's put it over the bar. Good point by the man who's now operating at left half back. He makes it 5 points to 2. That was a great score.
Yes, again, as you see, it comes out again to Larry O'Gorman, and as he picks it up here, it's a great score. But again, a great defensive play by Limerick. I mean, to clear the ball. Wexford had a lot of possession up there, and they'd be disappointed that it ended up in a score that wasn't cleared further on down the field.
Well, it's shaping up like it'll be quite an open game, as Gerlach Mann was pointing out earlier on. Larry O'Gorman there against the other number 9, Sean O'Neill. The referee having his attention brought to the fact that Owen O'Neill is down on the ground. John O'Connor also looks like he's been in the wars, and the umpire over there has noted what happened, and he's calling the referee across. Did you get a view of that?
No, Ger, I didn't see what happened there, and John O'Connor seems to be holding his arm as well.
Well, the referee is calling aside John O'Connor. The notebook's out, and he's telling the other players like Liam Dunn, away you go. A damaged hand there, right hand, causing a lot of concern. So 1 booking, and I think the referee's going in for the other one as well. And chances are it's a booking apiece indeed for Owen O'Neill and for John O'Connor, something that happened off the ball, and the umpire did well to bring it to the referee's attention. That's Dr. Stephen Bow there attending to John O'Connor.
Sure, I think that a little war in each other's ear off the ball.
That's what happens next. So let's hope after all of that they can get down to playing the real hurling that they're both capable of playing. Don't know who started it, but let's hope that's the finish. In the middle of the field, the referee is also booking Mike Houlihan. I think the referee just laying down a marker saying, no nonsense, get on with the game. So 3 players have been warned. And play will continue with a free to Wexford, which there has just been booked. John O'Connor will come to take.
You said, Ger, it's important that the referee stamps this out of the game now or at an early stage.
A lot of jeering in his ears. That's the 65-metre line. John giving it everything. A huge one, accurately put between the posts and over. A great free by John O'Connor from a huge distance out, and it's 5 points to 3. He'll be a great deal happier now, I think. And on the walkie-talkie there, we've got one of his selectors, who is Rory Kinsella, along with Seamus Barron there. Joe Quaid pucks out. George O'Connor goes across to try and deny Sean O'Neill. And the linesman signalling that it's going to be a Wexford ball. Rod Guiney coming up to take it. Kieran Carey against Martin Storey. Next it's Gary Lappin against 2 Limerick men. Knocked in there. Larry Murphy's in there challenging Tom Dempsey as well. And it's a goal for Wexford. And Tom Dempsey scored. Wexford are back in front. 19.5 minutes gone in the first half, and Tom Dempsey gets his 2nd goal in the championship.
Here we see it as the full forward, Gary Lappin, away out the field, lobs a high ball into the square. because the defenders go for it. Tom Dempsey waits behind and watches for the break and finishes to the back of it. But Joe, we've seen it in the last couple of occasions there. The high ball gone into Limerick Spear seems to be causing problems.
And you get the feeling that both sides are well capable of scoring goals, as we've seen so many times in this year's championship. That's Barry Foley. John O'Connor against Eoin O'Neill. O'Neill tries to dispossess him, gets assistance there from Colm Keogh. Oh, brilliantly taken by Rory McCarthy, but he stepped over the sideline. And Willie Barrett, the linesman here, had no doubts about it. Well, that goal should really set up this match. Now, this was a wonderful catch, terrific athleticism, but he did step over. So the Tipperary official then pointing out to Limerick's Mike Houlihan where the sideline cut's to be taken from. Limerick trying to draw level here then. After nearly 21 minutes play. Wonderfully cut inside. Great save by Damien Fitzhenry. Dropped, hitting it away to the centre of the field. Kieran Carey wins the race. Here he comes again. Remember the point he got against Clare. Will they ever forget it? He's got another one here. Level for the second time. Kieran Carey's first point. It's a good recovery by Limerick after that goal by Tom Dempsey.
It was a great score by Kieran Carey, and I'm sure Limerick supporters will be loving to see him coming forward like that.
Dave Clark gets it the second time. Good supply of ball inside towards Eoin O'Neill. But this time it's Liam Dunn who's back. Towards Adrian Fenlon, over his head. Clark was coming again. Larry Murphy trying to hold him off. Stalemate in the centre of the field. Kicked forward there by Mike Houlihan. John O'Connor, quick off the blocks. To George O'Connor, his brother. Next, Larry O'Gorman. It's anybody's match. Towards Martin Storey. Storey trying to get away from Sean O'Neill, succeeding. Putting in the shot and putting it over the bar, and Wexford are back in front again. It's terrific. Storey's first point.
And I'm sure Martin has said to him, if Kieran Carey can do it, why can't I?
Martin Storey in his 25th championship match. Gary Kirby hasn't made the impact so far at centre-half forward against Liam Dunn. Larry Murphy putting up the right hand. The hand pass outside to Rob Guiney, and has settled down now more into this match. A huge delivery down there. Some work for Joe Quaid to carry out. Good goalkeeping, standing his ground well. Next it's Declan Nash. Towards TJ Ryan. Ryan going in there, winning that against Colm Keogh. Good hand pass forward to Barry Foley. Foley's in the clear. Guiney's behind him, and that's gone over the bar. 3 points now for Barry Foley, and you wonder will Wexford consider a switch here, because this man here is having a lot of the ball. He scored 3 points against Guiney.
Yes, he's causing a lot of damage down that left flank, but great play again by TJ Ryan. When he was battled up, found the extra man, and a great score by Barry Foley. But I'm sure Wexford will look maybe switching Larry Gorman right on over and changing Rod Guiney off to the side.
Yes, it would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? Dave Mahidi is in there along with Dave Boylan. Dave from the University of Limerick. Well, he really did set up that point wonderfully well, TJ Ryan. Sides level here for the third time in all. And Marty Morris has got some further news. Marty?
Yeah, just a positional switch there. Liam Griffin came in and told Rod Guiney to switch over with Larry O'Gorman. So Larry O'Gorman now is taking on the task of marking Barry Foley. And interestingly, Rod Guiney's twin brother, Dave, just came on and had a quick word as well.
Well, Tim also predicted that just moments ago, and Stephen McDonough's in some trouble. And here comes Gary Lappin, and he's put that ball over the bar. Forward lines are on top in this match. Gary Lappin's first point. Defence is in trouble. So 1-5 to 7 points. And the linesman on this near side here is waving his flag quite furiously, trying to get the referee's attention. He hasn't succeeded in doing so, and play continues. Frankie Carroll, Gary Kirby. That's Sean O'Neill, very direct hurler in his 8th championship match. This time it's Larry O'Gorman. This time he tries to stem the flow towards Barry Foley, from whence he scored those 3 points. A wonderful run, well hooped. Kieran Carey against 2 Wexford players, out to Barry Foley again. Great block down this time, Story involved. Tom Dempsey the goal scorer. It's Mark Foley, the number 7 in the thick of the action. Here's Tom Dempsey. Great campaigner down the years, inside, woof! Eamon Scallon was there just trying to get a connection on that. Dangerous ball lobbed in there by Tom Dempsey. 4 wide so far. Eamon Scallon just taking off the helmet. Well, that just needed a connection that time.
Just a connection, yeah. One good feature of the game so far, Gerard, is the amount of hooking and the amount of blocking down by each side. It's great to see.
Yeah, great skill. Sean O'Neill with George O'Connor, comes back down towards the waiting Barry Foley. Rod Guiney, this time in trouble against Frankie Carroll. This time it's a foul and it's a free into Limerick, and Gary Kirby will have some further target practice. Little cut there on the face of Rod Guiney. This is what happened here again, as Frankie was trying to advance, stopped. And you can see just how annoyed with himself Rod Guiney was. Gary Kirby looking for his 2nd pointed free. 45 metres out, fairly routine by his standards. 2 from 2 for Gary Kirby. The sides now level in this terrific All-Ireland final for the 4th time. 1-5 for Wexford, 8 points for Limerick. And there's a man who is so disappointed. Sean Flood. His father Tim, of course, won 3 All-Ireland medals. Well, maybe next year. Oh, great catch, this time by Martin Storey. Held back there by Mike Nash. Free in. Great play by Martin Storey. And Eamon Scallon, the free taker from the Liam Mellows Club in Castletown, will come out to take it. Gary Laffin waiting inside with Mike Nash. Well, Eamon Scallon must have been mighty relieved to have been included on Tuesday night last, having been subbed against Galway after 17 or 18 minutes. This time he does what he's there for, making the score from the free and contributing handsomely as well in other departments.
Yes, Gerard, off camera there, Limerick Giffen was using the time to have a chat with Rod Guiney, and I'm sure he was saying to him, look, Rod, you've done it already in the games previous to this. You've had a brilliant campaign up to date. Just to relax a little bit more on the ball. He seems very anxious.
Joe Quaid to pocket out. Just about 7 minutes to go to half-time. Batted down there by George O'Connor towards the waiting Rory McCarthy, who hasn't scored so far. Great play by Kieran Carey. Up it goes towards Mark Foley, towards his namesake Barry. The Patrick's well man is on his way again. What a performance! 4 points for young Barry Foley. Well, his uncle Sean was a wonderful half-back, whom we remember from 1973 and 74. He was captain in 74, captain as well in 1980, but his nephew here, Barry, is having a stormer. Adrian Fenlon. Beyond Dave Clark, on to Eamon Scallon, in towards Martin Storey. Lovely pick up here, given an advantage by Pat Horan, from which he takes his 2nd point. Well, he's shown that given the right kind of ball, he's capable of turning Kieran Carey.
Here again, I see ground ball cross again. Martin Storey picks it up. He gets away from Kieran Carey. Probably is looking for a free, maybe first time, but gets away with it, and a great strike over the bar.
Well, I think the referee acknowledged it was a foul, but said play on. Good advantage.
Good advantage by the referee.
On by Mike Houlihan. Owen O'Neill, the next one into challenge, but very decisive play there by John O'Connor. Well, Larry Murphy's lost the stick. On to George O'Connor. Wonderful play. This is Kieran Carey. Such an enjoyable All-Ireland final. It is the hurling final, isn't it? 2 Wexford players playing a bit of football with that. This is Jerkosh. Well, those who predicted that he might be in trouble, far from it. Frankie Carroll towards Owen O'Neill. Oh, lovely pick up this time by Owen O'Neill. And he smashes it over the bar. His first point. So they're level for the 6th time here. And now 5 of the 6 Limerick forwards have scored. And Marty has some further news for us.
Yes, indeed. Well, I can tell you now, Ger, that Owen O'Neill is about to be taken off, and Pádraig Tobin is going to be introduced to try and quell in some way John O'Connor's dominance at left corner back.
He's just scored.
Yes, this seems a straight decision to me after O'Neill just got a very good point. I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of possession gone into O'Neill in this corner, to be fair to him.
Rod Garney getting the assistance here from Adrian Fenlon. A booming one down towards Gary Lappin. Mike Nash in trouble back there, needing assistance. It's Gary Lappin. Can he swing the stick? He can. It's a great stop. It comes out from the stick there of Joe Quaid, and it's a free out. Wow, a point-blank range shot. It should have been the 2nd goal of the game. Getting a bit heated.
Jeremy, see this, so the ball comes in again. A high ball again has caused problems inside the defence. Gary Lappin bursts through and watch this for a marvellous save. Best we've probably seen in Croke Park for a long, long time.
Well, this isn't the point theatre, lads. Or the point depot, even. We leave that to Prince Nassim. What the Australians call a dust-up. And let's hope it will rid the game of whatever tension is in it. It was such a splendid contest. 2 very evenly matched teams. Level at this stage in the game. Absolutely brilliant save here by Joe Quaid. Gary Lappin struck it straight at him, but Quaid called on to make a wonderful save.
Oh, that was a great save, Jared. As I said, that's what hurling is all about. I mean, not what I went on after it. This is what the game is all about.
It's out of character with so many of these players anyway to get involved in such a punch-up as that.
Sure,
we always say
using the opportunity, Jared, to release an awful lot of tension that's maybe built up inside him.
If they're trying to find a culprit here, that's a difficult enough one, because they used to say, give advice to teams, look, if there's going to be a fight, the whole lot of you get in quickly. It's Kieran Kerry who's having the name taken. So now 3 Limerick players have been booked, and the referee might not be finished just yet. Calling across Adrian Fenlon. So that's 2 bookings for Wexford. 2.5 minutes to go, plus a bit of stoppage time. Well, this was where it all started. And then it just developed and developed.
Sure, there was a lot of players converging on each other there. Very hard to pinpoint anybody.
Back with the action, which is what we've come to see. And again, the referee has the notebook out, and this time it's Eamon Scallon. Perhaps an early pull there. Oh, he sent him off.
Yes, Gerald, I was just about to say, all it takes is a guy to lose his head at this situation now, and the referee is going to make a name for himself. He's going to maybe send somebody off, and it just happens.
Eamon Scallon has been sent off in the 33rd minute of this final. We've had so much drama here. Let's have another look at this again. This is where the throw-in came.
Ball, yes.
Oh, the second time then he did follow through.
Yes, he followed through the second pull, and the referee had no option but to send the guy off.
Wexford are down to 14 players. The game is tied up. 7 to 10 points. Many, many talking points. Limerick with a full complement and to George O'Connor with an injury. He plays on. It's with Frankie Carroll, a little block by Liam Dunn. Next it's Rod Guiney. The 14 men then fighting into the goal on the left-hand side and playing their hearts out. Tom Dempsey right at the end line. Declan Nash waiting for his brother Mike perhaps to come and take it. It's Declan instead who has it. Out as far as Mark Foley. A long, long ball down into the inside forward line. Off Colm Keogh, gets back, tips it away spectacularly to George O'Connor. Towards Adrian Fenlon, trying to balance it on his stick. Keeping it away from Mike Houlihan. Into the inside forward line, where Wexford are a man down. One back by Tom Dempsey, and he's put it over. Well, that's the kind of response that Wexford have wanted at the loss of their man. They've gone back in front. Tom Dempsey with a goal and a point to his credit. Adrian Fenelon lobbing it in there.
Again, Gerrard, we see it again. High ball. It's breaking around the square all the time that has gone in there, and Tom Dempsey picks it up and great score over the bar.
It's interesting what Limerick have done now with their extra man. They've left the two Nashes in the full back line, and Stephen McDonagh has come out to be a kind of a sweeper behind the half back line. Liam Dunn coming forward, showing class as always. Adrian Fenelon is expecting a stronger block to come in. Two men against him. Scooped forward towards Mike Houlihan. Well, it can be difficult to play with 14 men, obviously, but it can also be so difficult to play when you've got the full complement against 14. TJ Ryan, he's off target. Just Limerick's second wide, but they trail by a point.
Just during the last couple of minutes, it happened all so fast that when we had the talk of Owen O'Neill being replaced, he's still on the field, and you have Ian Scannell being sent off.
In fact, Owen O'Neill has now gone to full forward in a switch with Damien Quigley, and their markers have followed them. In injury time, in this dramatic first half, Kieran Carey. Barry Foley commits the foul. Certainly, I think packed Croke Park has enjoyed every second of this. I don't know where he is, but I do know that the Irish manager, soccer manager Mick McCarthy, is here with Ian Evans, his assistant. He just wanted to be here to show Ian Evans what hurling is all about and what a terrific game it is. It'll be John O'Connor who'll take this. Steve McDonagh, the spare man with nobody to mark, is on the goal line along with Joe Quaid. He hit one huge free accurately over earlier on. Here's another one. Not the same result, however. Calling back Larry O'Gorman to go back to half-back line. Larry was picking up his man, who of course continues to be Owen O'Neill.
I'm sure Wexford will be happy to get in over half-time and settle down themselves after Ian Scannell's been sent off.
Wexford with 18 scoring chances, Limerick with 14. There's the half-time whistle. It's been a very good first half, lots of memorable scores. Barry Foley has helped himself to 4 points from wing forward for Limerick. Tom Dempsey got the only goal after 19.5 minutes of the first half. There was a late point by him as well to edge his side into the lead at half-time. Wexford, of course, down 14 players. Eamon Scannell having been sent off. Half-time position, it's Wexford 1-8, Limerick 10 points. And here's Marty.
Liam Lenihan, Limerick selector. Your thoughts at half-time now?
Oh, it's just as we expected, Marty. Very, very tight, very close. And the second half is going to be the same, very tight.
You now have numerical advantage for the whole second half. Is that going to change your plans?
Well, obviously we'll have to study that very closely at half-time. And we'll obviously have a man loose, so where we play him now, we'll talk about that at half-time.
Do you think the referee was right to send off a player?
Well, I have a policy, Marty, of never commenting on the referee's decision, because it's a difficult job. And they're there and they see the action and they saw exactly what happened.
You're still going to win?
Oh yes, we're going to win.
Thank you, Liam Lenihan.
Yes, well, what can you say about that 35 minutes of hurling? For a half an hour, it was one of the most exhilarating games that we've seen for a long time here at Croke Park. And then suddenly, for 5 minutes, the whole thing has degenerated into a nasty brawl. But half-time just could not come quick enough. Hopefully, the opposing team mentors will settle this thing down and we can return to the kind of hurling that we had been enjoying before that here at Croke Park. We take a break. We'll be back to talk about that first half with the panel after that. So the crowd here at Croke Park, as usual, being entertained at half-time in the senior game, but really there's a buzz around the ground after that first 35 minutes of hurling, at the end of which Wexford lead by that single point, 1-8 to 10 points. Ger Loughnane and Michael Duigan have been watching that with me. Ger, your thoughts on that first half?
Well, the game started off at a ferocious pace, with fierce physical exchanges all over the field for the first 10 minutes. No scores or no chances of scores, with very tight marking. And then a lull came, and Limerick took over. Great points from Barry Foley, Damien Quigley and Frankie Carroll. And it seemed they were going to run away with it. And then after about 18 minutes, Mike Houlihan made a rash challenge there in the middle of the field. John O'Connor scored a point. After that came the goal. And from then on, it's nip and tuck. It's a great game with great scores, apart from that incident just before half-time.
You mentioned the goal, Michael Duignan, here it is.
Gary Laffin goes out there, picks up the ball, and he sends in what looks like a fairly harmless high ball into the square. Tom Dempsey's been around a long time. He stays down, stays out of it. He gets the ball raised, ground ball into that. And then he goes into the ground ball, very, very hard.
Another look at it, Ger, from a different angle.
Yeah, the ball comes in. Larry Murphy inside the edge of the square, didn't catch it, it fell down. Tom Dempsey and the ball in the net. Very hard to stop a ball like that.
Yeah.
But really, when you think of it, the save that Joe Quaid made later on was the highlight of the game so far. A brilliant save.
Okay, now we're just changing a microphone on Michael Duignan at the moment. While we're doing that, Gerald Loughnane, let's have a look at the sending off incident.
Well, no question about the sending off incident. Now, on its own, it mightn't have been so bad, you know, but it came after a fracas between a whole number of people. And the referee felt that he had to take control. Otherwise, the game would get out of his reach altogether. So it was a very wild stroke. He's a very inexperienced player. You hate to see him going off.
Sure.
You hate to see something like that happen. And you feel for the player. It was just the hype, the excitement of the moment. He got caught. He was sent off. No question about it, but he had to be sent off. But it was a result of what happened later on.
Michael Duignan, the referee has really done his best in what has proved to be a difficult circumstance in this match.
Yeah, on an Ireland final, the first 10 or 15 minutes is always going to be tough. But this incident before half-time was particularly ugly in that a lot of players got involved for no reason. And I know Pat Horn, he's a club mate of my own at home, and he's a very fair-minded referee. He doesn't like sending players off, but he's not afraid to take hard decisions. And he had to, as Gerard said, aiming the stroke wasn't that bad on its own, but he had to take action at that stage. And it's very unfortunate to see a player being sent off in Ireland, but that's the way it goes.
Well, Ger, apart from that melee, there was so much to admire in this first half, and not least of these 4 points scored by Barry Foley.
No doubt about it. We were talking about beforehand about some player coming out of the pack and producing a big display. Well, this is the rabbit out of the hat, Barry Foley. He has scored 4 points from play. He's running all over the field. He gave Rod Guiney a torrid time in the first 20 minutes. Larry O'Gorman went over on him, and he scored another point off Larry O'Gorman. He's having the game of his life. It's a dream for him. And 4 points in the first half, not bad.
Let's look at this save again. This is this brilliant save by Joe Quaid.
Well, this is an incredible reflex save. Now, he did in the semi-final from Johnny Caston against Antrim. But, I mean, he has no time thinking of it. Now, it's fairly close to him, but he gets his hurley up. It's a fantastic, one of the greatest saves, I'd say, ever in an All-Ireland final. That is there.
You don't even appreciate it fully when you see it in slow motion, but it happened just in front of us here, and you really had to
You just couldn't see him having a chance to get his hurley up that fast. But he got it up, made a save. He has fantastic reflexes, Joe Quaid, no doubt about it.
OK, Ger, Marty Morrissey has some news for us, I think, so let's go and join Marty.
Thank you very much, Michael. Sean Flood, I know you're disappointed not to be out there, but what's the mood like in the Wexford dressing room at half-time?
Well, they're fairly calm in there at the moment. They're trying to calm down and get themselves focused on the second half, like, you know, Marty.
Are there any changes? Can we expect any changes?
There's no changes as far as I know, anyhow.
What about that sending off? Did that upset, do you think, the whole balance of the Wexford team and the mood of the team, or did it, in fact, encourage them?
Could you say that again? I can't really hear you there now with the crowd.
Is that bad? What do you think the effect of the sending off has had on the Wexford team?
Well, they just have to regroup, like, and try all the harder. Like, sometimes it works to an advantage even when you lose a man, because people will give it that little bit more extra, like, you know. So hopefully that's what they're thinking, like.
I'm sure you'd love to be out there now for the second half.
Surely would.
Thank you very much, Sean Flood.
Marty.
Well, Marty, I'm sure that Eamon Scallon would love to be out there for the second half as well, but it's a 14-man Wexford with a point lead who take on Limerick. Let's go back again to Tomás Mulcahy and Ger Canning.
Yes, we're just wondering how indeed Limerick will use their numerical advantage, and it seems to me Dave Clark is now becoming the free man. I think that's a very good move. And straight away it's Gary Lappin trying to stretch the lead, but not succeeding in doing so. Yes, that was an absolutely wonderful piece of goalkeeping by Joe Quaid. Save that we watched time and time again. But with his side a point in arrears, having 15 against 14, it really is now down to this Limerick combination to try and take home the cup. Second time of asking, as it were, following their defeat in '94. But Wexford will be such dogged opponents with no little skill.
Yes, sure, and I suppose people will be saying with Limerick with the numerical advantage at this stage that they must be favourites for the second half, but I'm sure Wexford are not going to lie down too easily, and their full forward line are causing particular problems for the Limerick full back line. I'm sure if they get more ball in there, they're going to do a lot of damage.
Here's the spare man who drops it down, however, Dave Clark. As far as Martin's story, 2 points in the first half. Dropping into the waiting arms there of Joe Quaid. Bit of a cardinal error not to take your chance like that, as it gives Limerick the chance now to launch a counter-attack. Good stop here by Larry O'Gorman. Good ball inside towards Tom Dempsey, who continues to play at top of the right. Rory McCarthy going in there, now Gary Lappin, and he's put it wide. A couple of chances falling to Wexford in the opening minute of the second half. Mike Nash there, and certainly there's a little concern about a leg injury, I think. Not moving particularly freely. Batted down by Liam Dunn. I think Limerick will be hoping to get a bit more out of Gary Kirby during the second half. He was certainly off colour during the opening 35 minutes. That's George O'Connor back there, foraging. Jerkush popping up here at right corner back. Inside, Gary Lappin. Well away from Mike Nash, scoring chance, and well topped over the bar. Second point for Gary Lappin from Glen Barntown. He must be really pleased with the way his charges have responded this afternoon.
Yes, sir. Again, a great ball into the square again, and again, great play by Gary Lappin. But it's interesting to note, as we said, the extra man at times can cause a team problems more than being an advantage to them, and it's leaving a lot of space inside in the Limerick backline at this stage, and I'm sure Wexford are going to expose that.
Well, Dave Clark has pushed on now into midfield as a third midfielder. Owen O'Neill tried to make some headway back there against John O'Connor. Rod Guiney looking for a much better second half. Mike Houlihan. And they've wasted the chance. Doesn't look terribly pleased at this stage. It was interesting, the demeanour of the Limerick fans over the last couple of weeks. They simply didn't want to raise their hopes following the acute disappointment they felt in 1994. And they will be so bitterly disappointed that their side cannot beat a team with one man more for all of the second half. At that time it's going to be a free up to Wexford. Player going down there was Colm Keogh. And the referee has a word there with Owen O'Neill. So Liam Griffin in there having words with the referee. And likewise Rory Kinsella alongside Stephen Bowe. Tom Ryan having a word with his selectors there, who are Bernie Savage and Liam Lenihan. This is what happened again.
Here again, as he picks up the ball and tries to get his way out. Blocked. His pad is blocked, and the referee has no option but to give a free out.
But he was heading across towards Owen O'Neill, whom he regarded as the guilty party. O'Neill is now at full forward while the leg is strapped up. Colm Keogh playing in his 7th championship match. Plays for the quaintly named halfway house in Bunclody, which is near Carlow. Recognised in this game as a great tackler. It's the Wexford fans who are cheering. Sub warming up on this far side of the field there for Limerick. That's Porrick Tobin, who might come in at full forward. John O'Connor, I think, while all that was happening, was there geeing up the Wexford fans up on Hill 16. Trying to get them right behind the 14 men. Just 6 minutes now into the second half. Damien Fitzhenry taking the free. A huge one towards Larry Murphy, being marked by Stephen McDonough. Scooped inside towards Adrian Fenlon. And the linesman having no doubts. A Wexford ball. Adrian Fenlon going across to take it. But Wexford leading by 2 points. And that was left there by Stephen McDonough and went harmlessly wide. It's the 8th wide for Wexford, the 3rd of the second half. Limerick with just 3. The game has dipped in intensity. The packed new stand. On the right as Joe Quaid was pucking it out. Down through the centre. To the hero of the first half, Barry Foley, with 4 points. Towards Frankie Carroll, who got 1. Well dispossessed by Rod Guiney. Playing the kind of match we expect from Guiney now in the second half. Larry Murphy was fouled by Steve McDonough. There's a free up to Wexford. Larry, who got the first point in this All-Ireland final. Dave Clark, the free man, not having anybody to mark, so he's switching between midfield and the half-back line. They haven't really made any use of their extra man so far.
I mean, there's about 7 or 8 minutes gone in the second half, and the impact of the extra man has been little or none, and I'm sure that's a cause of worry to Limerick as well.
Meanwhile, Tom Dempsey, minimum of fuss, but Gary Lappin was in there in the small rectangle as that ball was coming in. Free out. Tom Dempsey once again dropping that one in, and you can quite clearly see that Lappin was well and truly in the what they call the small square. Dave Clark has gone across for treatment across to the far side. You'd often wonder when a team goes down like that, should they perhaps throw in an extra forward?
Yes, I mean, and let the backs back their own man and let a forward go in and create the extra man above front, because at times when you push a man forward, it can be a lot of punching around midfield and it ties up the game. So.
Too many steps taken by Frankie Carroll. Free to Wexford. Pádraig Tobin all this while continues to prepare on the far side. Well, is there a change in the mind there of Liam Griffin? As another Liam Dunn takes the free. Fumbled by Larry Murphy. Decisively away there by Steve McDonough. Missed by Rod Guiney. Taken up by Gary Kirby. Inside towards Big Owen O'Neill. Comes back towards TJ Ryan. They need to score badly, and he's the provider. First point of the match for TJ Ryan. And Limerick have needed their first score of the second half to come within a point of Wexford. But it's taken them all of 9 minutes to produce that score. Here it is again.
Here again as ball comes in, Damien quickly, our own, and he obviously fails to pick it up, and TJ Ryan picks it up and knocks it over the bar. But it's a good score for Limerick at the stage when they weren't really playing well, and they're getting a point, and they're back in the game very much now.
Great catch. Sean O'Neill stopped. Larry O'Gorman taking it around Barry Foley. Good ball inside, but back there minding the house as always, safe and sound, Declan Nash. Little conference on the far side by the Wexford selectors. Sideline ball.
You just wonder as well how much of an effect that sending off had on both teams. I mean, an All-Ireland final to see a man sent off is not something.
Yeah, it's an awful pity.
An awful thing, yeah.
Larry O'Gorman hit the sideline ball in front of an attendance of 65,849. Referee reminded the other players that they have to be back 13 metres from a sideline cut. George O'Connor and Sean O'Neill ready to get in after this. Hit in by Larry O'Gorman. Kieran Carey fast in there to try and take it away, but he's stumbling. Martin Storey trying to make something of it. Good support played by the Limerick men. On to Dave Clark. Through the centre. Liam Dunn. Won by Gary Kirby. Back it comes towards Colm Keogh. You'd almost think that Wexford had the extra man, the way they're playing. That's nicely inside towards Larry Murphy. He swings this thing, a great save! A fantastic save! Gary Lappin. Limerick not out of the woods just yet. And that's gone over the bar. Two tremendous saves in this match by Joe Quaid, who's always capable of the most amazing of stops. This was so spectacular.
Jeez, that's tremendous stop by Joe Quaid again.
From inside the goal. What about this for athleticism? He is a wonderful shot stopper. And he very much keeps Limerick in the hunt for glory here. George O'Connor. Gary Lappin winning the race there with Mike Nash. Lappin bearing in on goal. Wexford by 2 points, remember. Rory McCarthy, who hasn't scored so far. He's been kept quiet by the excellent Mark Foley. Out by Declan Nash. Sean O'Neill leaves it behind there. It's Rory McCarthy, who's a student, of course, in the University of Limerick. Here he is against Limerick in this All-Ireland final, and he's won the free-in. He was being held back. It's a free from 20 metres. And a chance for Wexford to put 4 points between the teams. This was a good run.
Yes, it was a great run again by Rory McCarthy. You can see the chop by Declan Nash across him, and the referee again has no alternative for the water free in. But I mean, great play by Gary Lappin, the full forward. He's having a tremendous game, and he's been inspiration for Wexford.
Well, there's the familiar figure of Billy Byrne there preparing on the far side, and Paul Finn also alongside him. They were the men who were involved in the second goal, and it seems like we're going to have a change. Pádraig Tobin, meanwhile, has come in. And going off, Owen O'Neill. So the man in the green helmet, Pádraig Tobin, is in. The free is to be taken by Tom Dempsey. Nicely put over the bar. He's taken over the free-taking duties from Eamon Scallon, who was sent off 2 minutes before half-time. Owen O'Neill then been accompanied off by Dave Mahidi. So now the questions once again are being asked of Limerick here. Rod Guiney knocking it forward only as far as Mike Houlihan. On to Dave Clark. Well stopped. Damien Fitzhenry. And he was fouled late there by Pádraig Tobin. Tobin caught him after he made that clearance, but he's up on his feet again, and Larry Murphy has it. Here's Larry Murphy for Wexford. He's got support inside. Gary Lappin. Lappin to Drenstrach, and well blocked down there by Steve McDonough. Kieran Carey coming in next. Well, the Limerick backs there, coping magnificently. Down it goes. Rod Guiney lets it go over his head. It runs on towards TJ Ryan. A point to his credit so far. Now being marked by Colm Keogh. Low ball inside John O'Connor. Against Podge Tobin. Tobin. Foley coming in, and another fine save by Damien Fitzhenry. Mark Foley was advancing with menace. Colm Keogh has it, and the game has picked up again now in the second half, after an indifferent opening 10 minutes to the second half. That's going to be a Wexford ball. There's noticeable tension all over this ground. Look at the faces. Long way to go yet.
Yes, Gerard,
20 minutes.
And a key thing there, the referee looked at the umpire there for that last incident when the goalkeeper was actually charged on by Pádraig Tobin, and there was no need for him to go in. In fairness to Damien Fitzhenry, he got up straight away after the tackle.
Adrian Fenlon to hit this one. Such noise around Croke Park this afternoon. He misses it. Gets it back second time. Larry O'Gorman now going for the point. He's put it over the bar. A second point for the left half back wearing the number 9. A rallying score if ever there was one, because Wexford have a 4-point lead. Can the 14 men do it and bring the Liam McCarthy Cup back to Wexford for the first time since 1968? Kieran Carey has moved into midfield. Is he now to be the loose man, I wonder? We'll just wait and see on that one. They need somebody who can exert a far greater influence, because Wexford are the masters at this stage. Adrian Fenlon, another scoring chance, and that was a relatively easy one by his standards. Bad miss.
That was a bad miss by Adrian Fenlon. He had Tom Dempsey all alone inside him that he could use a hand pass.
Right, a turning point of the game possibly now. I think you were about to say Kieran Carey now the extra or loose man.
Yes, and we're at a stage in the game now. I think Limerick need a leader on the pitch, and Gary Kirby has struggled to get into the game. They're looking to the likes of Limerick now to take the game to Wexford.
Might well be that here he is. He's going to get the chances, and he's taken the score. Second point in the game for Kieran Carey. You remember that fine rallying point in the first half, a great run forward. So 3 points the margin. Meanwhile, Limerick on the far side are preparing Brian Tobin from Mungret. Perhaps he'll be entering the fray pretty soon. Just 20 years of age. Damien Fitzhenry. I think we're going to be in for a last great 18 minutes of this final. Martin Storey dropping a little bit short. Quaid has it, keeping it away from Tom Dempsey, attempting to do so. Referee says free out. Well, it was dropped short there from that shot by Martin Storey, and that's where Tom Dempsey caught the goalkeeper. Tom, I think, just wanted to hold him up, but Joe going down like a sack of potatoes there. Adrian Fenlon. This is Mark Foley. Stylish left half back. Lobbed in there. TJ Ryan waiting for it, but he doesn't get it. Well, that's so frustrating for an inside forward when the shots like that go over your head and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Two goalkeepers are having a great say in the outcome of this match. Martin Storey trying to guide that into his path. Instead it's taken by Declan Nash. Colm Keogh. Next it's Damien Quigley. Score of 2-3 here, of course, 2 years ago against Offaly. Quigley with just 1 point so far. Rod Guiney playing tenaciously in the second half, but it's Frankie Carroll who advances. Looking for some latitude to hit that shot inside. It's Cherkush kicking it away, aware that he might be hooked. Towards Adrian Fenlon, tried to win that battle against Mike Houlihan and done very well. Martin Storey next, free in. It's a display of tremendous skill, but character and courage as well by Wexford here. And really they are asking the questions of Limerick once again.
Yes, again, the referee again has no alternative. He's been held there by Mark Foley. But I mean, again, great defensive play by Wexford. And Limerick having the extra man, Wexford are taking the game to Limerick when it should be the other way around.
Well, Limerick have a fresh player into the fray as we anticipated, and that is Brian Tobin from Mungret, and going off TJ Ryan. So Limerick have now replaced their two corner forwards that they started the match with. Tom Dempsey, the free taker, and he's put it over. 3 points for Tom Dempsey, and that goal, of course, after 19.5 minutes of the first half, which is so important, which has delighted the fans up on the hill. Pat Murphy, the PRO there. Martin Storey has gone back to mark Kieran Carey, who was the loose man. Wexford doing their homework very well, summing up the situation with great accuracy. Inside, and that was touched on the ground there by Barry Foley. But a number of Limerick players so far in this match have not come in with the kind of big displays that you really anticipated.
Yes, Gerard, if you had said before the game that Gary Kirby was going to be very, very quiet today, nobody would have believed you.
Of course, Clare last year expected James O'Connor to be their match winner.
Exactly, yeah. Maybe the hand injury sustained in the first half really is giving them trouble.
Possible. Damien Fitzhenry hitting this free. So are Limerick to lose 2 finals in the space of 3 years? There's still a quarter of an hour to go. Gary Lappin. Mike Nash. Tom Dempsey taking it up next. Good block down there. It's a partial block by Declan Nash just to avert the danger momentarily. And then it was Dave Clark. He was tripped on his way out by Martin Storey. He doesn't exactly agree with the decision. Free to Limerick nonetheless. Mike Houlihan the taker. A huge one downfield. Wind assisted, in it goes. Here's a chance, missed by Gary. And the referee's whistle has sounded in any case. Just as Brian Tobin was in there thinking that he might be the hero of the day.
I'd like to see that again replayed, or what the free was for. Maybe it was infringement in the square.
Here it is again. There was nobody inside in this small rectangle. Missed by Gary Kirby there.
Unknown reason for me why the free was given.
It's a bit puzzling, isn't it? Damien Fitzhenry will take the free. On towards Martin Storey. Trying to get around Mark Foley. They've hit a couple of poor wides now in the last 3 or 4 minutes play. But the 14 men are having to make up for the numerical disadvantage by working extra hard. Towards Frankie Carroll it comes, got to stick to it. In towards Podge Tobin. Liam Dunn. Gary Kirby and Whitten there with the challenge. Hand passed outside towards Tobin again. And he's put it wide. They're looking a bit listless at times, Limerick. So who's going to lift this right now? As you look at the scoreline just above it, it's Wexford who lead by 4 points. Fitzhenry's puck out. The third of the Fitzhenry brothers to figure prominently with Wexford. Kieran Carey and Frankie Carroll, one-handed forward by Adrian Fenlon, back by Mike Houlihan for Limerick. They chase and after it. Damien Fitzhenry watches it, and it goes harmlessly wide. And Ger Cush there in need of attention, just on the bottom right of the screen. Well, Wexford fans have seen their side put in such a dashing effort so far. The first, 24 minutes or so of the second half. They'll be keenly aware just one Limerick goal, one chance, and they can be right back in it. And they may do to Wexford what Offaly did to them.
Yes, sure, and we've seen the last two finals. We've seen the last two finals over the last 2 years. I mean, it's come down to the 70th minute. No matter how far a team has been ahead, and again, Limerick are still winning a chance. They've got 13 minutes to go, and they're still winning a good chance.
John Flavin is warming up for Limerick on the far side. Ger Cush has gone off. He's now back on again. So Fitzhenry pucks out. 11 minutes to go. Back to Gary Kirby. A huge one by Gary Kirby, but always going to the left. He hasn't been on his match this afternoon. But there's still time. Well, Damien Fitzhenry in no particular hurry with the puck out. Gary Kirby with just 2 points in the match, both of them coming from frees in the first half. Suffering from a finger injury, no doubt about that. So all to play for, you feel still. Both sides capable of taking the cup. Storey. And he's missed another one. Well, they could be terribly costly misses yet. Joe Quaid has Mark Foley totally unmarked on the left-hand side of the field here. He's suddenly kind of become the loose man, as Wexford have thrown players back in numbers, really. Trying to get back behind the ball, anticipating what's going to happen. Lands with Kieran Carey, drops it down. Next it's Larry O'Gorman. What a match Larry's playing. Score of 2 points so far. Fouled by Damien Quigley. Now, is it going to be Liam Griffin and his team's day? It has seemed like that, but we know how quickly matches such as this can change.
Yes, Jared, the one more thing though from Limerick is the way they're playing at the moment, the way they're wasting possession. They don't seem to be taking the fight to Limerick at this stage, and they really need to be up in their play now.
They need a bit of inspiration over there. Liam Dunn. In it goes. Tom Dempsey will be hoping to kill off the Limerick challenge completely with possibly another goal. Mike Houlihan advancing. Stopped by Gary Lappin, who needs a replacement stick. That'll be a sideline ball for Limerick. John Flavin continuing to warm up on the far side there. Just beyond Mike Houlihan, who's about to take the sideline cut. Towards Sean O'Neill, runs on. Barry Foley, the 4 points in the first half, now just a memory. Jerkosh back here. Good play by Jerkosh. Only as far as Kieran Carey, however. Stopped by Martin Storey. Captain against captain. Outside the 45-metre line. Limerick needing the point here. And he's put it wide. Oh, the agony that the Limerick fans must be feeling right now here in Croke Park and watching at home. I think I know who she feels. Rory McCarthy, good ball inside, stopped here by Mike Nash. Jerkosh again under it. What a tremendous catch, operating at right corner back towards George O'Connor, enjoying himself now in his first ever All-Ireland final. Adrian Fenlon, it's stopped by Steve McDonough towards Gary Kirby, and again the referee's whistle sounds. This time it's Gary Kirby who's indicted. The foul on Liam Dunn, free to Wexford.
Jared, if you're looking at options now for Limerick, maybe it might be better off putting Gary Kirby to full forward and bringing out maybe Devian Quigley out to just add a bit of life to their half-hour line, because they're very, very dead around the middle of the field at a half-hour at this stage.
This is what happened here, and Turlock Herbert has just come on, the Ahan man. Here he comes. And Barry Foley, scorer of 4 points in the first half, has been replaced. He was the hero up to half-time. That's Limerick's third change. Larry Murphy fumbles. Steve McDonough has it. They'll now feel they need a bit of a miracle. It's still possible. Good play there by John O'Connor. Sean O'Neill, straight on a waiting Wexford man, who is Larry O'Gorman, who's having a tremendous All-Ireland final. Mike Nash. Kieran Carey on his left-hand side. Down it goes towards Gary Kirby, who's moved in, and there are Wexford players there to try and stop them. Damien Quigley inside, and the referee's whistle has sounded. Well, I think they had momentarily switched Gary Kirby in that time to follow that in along with Podge Tobin. And Wexford with a couple of wounded heroes in there, John O'Connor one of them. Here's what happened.
Yes, sure, but it was a more sensible ball again by Kieran Carey though. I mean, in the first 5 or 10 minutes there gone by, he's opted to hit balls wide from long range. This time he put a ball in around the square, and it caused a little bit of danger. If he can do that over the next couple of minutes, who knows what's going to happen.
Two players injured, Liam Dunn and John O'Connor. Billy Burns come in. That could be a very good move indeed. Larry Murphy's been replaced. This is an experienced campaigner. He'll relish the prospect of the last 5 minutes of this All-Ireland final. Liam Dunn still getting the attention. There will undoubtedly be sympathy for Limerick if they are to lose their second All-Ireland final in the space of 3 years, but there's very little sympathy in sport, as we all know. And it's the 14 men of Wexford who have caught the eye this afternoon. Larry Murphy just been replaced. Eamon Scallon there, who was encouraging him. Eamon, who was sent off just before half-time. And this one of the great players this afternoon, Liam Dunn, along with Larry O'Gorman. Jerkosh has had an inspirational time as well. They won't want to lose Liam Dunn's influence. I think he'll play on regardless. Give me the helmet, he says. Back into the action. Inside 5 minutes to go. And that's gone wide. Turlock Herbert hitting it. Wexford looking close to that 6th All-Ireland win. The scoreline has been stuck on 113 to 12 points for quite some time. Batted down by Mike Houlihan towards Gary Kirby. Liam Dunn there. Now Rod Guiney. Rod leaves it behind. Assistance and support from Adrian Fenlon next. He's another one of the heroes. Frankie Carlson, give me the ball back, and Fenlon goes after him. Just a little bit heated. Liam Griffin then calling out the instructions to his backline. Quickly taken to the waiting Dave Clark. And that to put just a goal between the teams. Clark's first point. 113 to 13 points. They'll be still thinking of 2 years ago, hoping now to inflict that kind of defeat on the side that's been the better team in this match. No doubt about that. The men from Wexford. Damien Fitzhenry pucking out into the half-forward line. Missed by Adrian Fenlon. Steve McDonough back to Dave Clark. Limerick in after this one. Turlock Herbert. That's Colm Keogh. Good play by the terrier-like cornerback. He kicks it forward. Well, it's a real backs-to-the-wall exercise for Wexford. It's as heroic a performance as we've seen from any team, but just 14 men. Christy Todd with the glasses in there, who was Secretary of Offaly 2 years ago. Good ball inside. It's won by Martin Storey. Look where he is, and Liam Dunn drives it out there. They're trying to stonewall this Limerick team and do so with a bit of style. Rory McCarthy, downfield it goes. Mike Nash. Our 15 men to lose to 14. It has happened so often in sport. Kieran Carey has it. They need a point here, and he puts it over the bar. There's still about 2 minutes to go. Carey's third point. Are we in for another dramatic finale? Wexford trying to make a switch or two.
Mr. Shaw, Wexford will be anxious to slow the game down as much as possible now and try and run out time as quickly as possible.
And the player has just come in, I think it's Paul Finn. Rod Guiney's gone off. Finn has gone to left half forward, been marked by Mike Houlihan. Possession now of the essence. One here by Declan Nash for Limerick. Limerick 2 points behind. Dave Clark hammering that one downfield. Turlock Herbert trying to bat it into somebody's path. Taken back by John O'Connor. One back here well. Colm Keogh leaves it to Padraig Tobin. Trying to get it across the field here and succeeding in doing so. Limerick looking for something, and that ball just won't run for Brian Tobin, and instead it is Liam Dunn. A wonderful stylish centre-half back. All eyes, full of concentration. He really is inspiring the rest of them. Tremendous leadership by the man from Ullart the Bella. But how about this for Kieran Carey? Well chipped away there by Martin Storey. What an All-Ireland final finale. Up towards Billy Byrne. Away by Mike Nash. Missed momentarily there by Paul Finn. Stephen McDonough has it. The man from Brewery. Unable to set up anything. Adrian Fenlon again. Good ball forward. Tom Dempsey's after it. Challenged over there by Declan Nash. Well, it's been about heart and commitment in the second half. Wexford were up against it. Now Limerick are responding. But is it too late? We're in injury time. Limerick looking for a goal, perhaps. Brian Tobin. Liam Dunn on his knees. There's Colm Keogh as well there. Padraig Tobin trying to take the ball inside. Instead, again, it is Colm Keogh. And the man from halfway house in Bunclody delighting the Taoiseach and the patron of the GAA with a stirring display. Is Liam Griffin about to lead his side into a first All-Ireland victory
I think
for so many years?
He's running onto the field himself to the referee to say that they want to make a change.
The referee saying, off you get. We're not holding this match up. Wexford have the free.
And I'm sure, Ger, if Wexford to win this match, Eamon Scannon's blow won't look so bad after all.
Absolutely. But full credit as Wexford now make a late change. And going on is Paul Codd, one of their under-21s who had been injured. He'll be part of the under-21 All-Ireland final team next Sunday against Galway, of course. Gary Lappin's got off. So plenty of changes. This is where the substitute Paul Codd has it. Billy Byrne chasing. Steve McDonough trying to get the ball downfield, but it's so difficult. Look at the tenacity of the Wexford players. They just really haven't allowed Limerick to settle. And that was a late challenge there on Kieran Carey. It's going to be a free downfield. We've nearly 2 minutes of injury time played.
Limerick have no option but I think to drop this ball into the square and try and get a goal to try and win the match.
16 points to 14, as it were, in points. Wexford ahead. Well, this really has to be it. Wexford with 32 chances in all, 26 for Limerick. And the referee, I think, has told the Limerick players just how little time remains. It's going to be Mike Houlihan from Kilmallock to lob it. And it's all over, is it? It's all over! There was no time left, and Wexford are the champions. They've won their 6th All-Ireland final. The Liam McCarthy Cup goes back to Slaney's side for the first time since 1968. It was a performance of passion, of bravery, of skill, of tactics by the manager and his selectors. Martin Storey has led them back into the promised land. The barren spell is over, and that in spite of 2 terrific saves by Joe Quaid. Limerick just somehow hadn't it in them today, and it's Wexford a win by 2 points. Wexford 113, Limerick 14 points. That is as stirring a victory by any team in the All-Ireland series as you've seen, I think, for many, many years.
Yes, Joe, you've got to hand it to them. They thoroughly deserved it on the day. Nobody could begrudge Wexford their day of hour today, and in fairness to them, they played out of their skins, and with 14 men, who would have thought at half-time that they were going to come back and win this match? But great credit due to them. They thoroughly deserve this, and everybody, I'm sure, is delighted for Wexford.
Absolutely, and delighted for George O'Connor as well in his 35th championship match. He'd been associated with so many defeats in Leinster finals. People were almost giving up on Wexford hurling, but Liam Griffin had belief. And now, I suppose, within Wexford, every young lad will want to play, every girl as well, I'm sure, will be playing camogie. It's an emotional occasion. You must feel sadness for Limerick. No team deserved to lose a final like they lost 2 years ago. But with 15 players today against 14, they simply hadn't got it. Here's Marty.
Thank you, Tom Ryan. It's very hard to put into words, just I'm sure what way you feel at this moment.
Yes, Marty, it's disappointing, all right, but in saying that, we have to give credit to Wexford and congratulate them on a wonderful victory. They played wonderful holding out there today, and you know, we didn't take our chances when they came our way, and we paid the price, but fair play to Wexford. They're a long time waiting for it, and no one begrudges them, and we congratulate them from Limerick.
But to lose, as you did in '94, and to lose today with just an extra man, I'm sure that's going to be a very hard pill to swallow.
Well, Marty, any time we lose an All-Ireland final in any circumstance is a difficult pill to swallow, you know. But we have a great sporting team, we have a young team, we have great supporters, and you know, there's a lot of hurling to be done in that team yet, and we'll be back.
Thank you very much for talking to us, Tom. I also have Bernie Savage, another selector. Bernie, can you describe just, if you can, just the way you feel at this moment?
Desperate side altogether for all the lads, for all the effort that we put in this year. But on the day, we didn't deserve to win it. And fair play to Wexford. They were the better team on the day, and they showed the more hunger. And we always said the team with the most hunger would win it. And on today, Wexford had that.
Did the plan go haywire when Eamon Scallon was sent off for Wexford? In fact, it turned to Wexford's advantage.
Definitely come to Wexford's advantage. We didn't seem to know how to play the loose man. We had a loose man, but we never got him on the ball.
Thank you very much, Bernie Savage, for talking to us, and well done.
Thank you, Marty. Yes, paradoxically, it was Wexford who got the lift that they needed. And there's Eamon Scallon going up there. He'll be so relieved. Martin Story is so pleased. Well, we mentioned how relaxed they looked beforehand. This is what he dreamed about. The cup going back to Oulart the Balloch, where he learned to hurl, played with the local club, and he's had a couple of great years there, of course. Oulart the Balloch, the club that Liam Dunn belongs to as well. Up to 2 years ago, they'd never won the county title. Now they're after doing 2 in a row, and guess what? Everyone wants to prevent a 3 in a row. But the county championship down there is on hold. It hasn't even started yet, I believe. They'll probably play the county final on Christmas Day. They won't care. This is what it's all about. The congratulations from Jack Boothman.
But he's the outer on the Hurling. Hardware, but he's sick. Look like down the Mana, but there's a couple there Hurling. Being talking away, or being shot at you. Pogonigus, listen, there Hurling, a black part in York. Pogonigus, Specialta, the Lochorman, and it's come wrong on Limerick. Ladies and gentlemen, once again we've seen a magnificent game of hurling. 2 great teams playing hurling with all the true spirit and passion that hurling deserves to be played with. Congratulations, of course, go to Wexford. A magnificent achievement coming from back last May. Starting last May in Leinster and achieving the almost impossible feat of taking home the Liam McCarthy Cup to Wexford. Don't forget, it takes 2 teams to make a great game, and our condolences go to Limerick today to hurl their hearts out on the day they just were not strong enough to defeat the passion of the Wexford team. I want to thank Guinness Ireland for their excellent sponsorship of these championships. They have brought extra passion, extra colour to the All-Ireland Series, and I thank Colin Storm, who's here beside me, for his contribution to the game of hurling. So let's sing to Honourable Cutting Shot, our brother and captain Martin Story.
They're waiting for it. They've waited a long time. This is what Martin Story has dreamed about. The team of 68 can take a back seat. It's now about the men of 96. Wexford are the All-Ireland hurling champions. It's been a wonderful championship, the Guinness Hurling Championship, and Wexford emerged victorious.
Out there on the Heron, out there on coming new class Grail, Accarda, Augustine and Lochorman. Tafir Durham, and Cornshaw had Locha, and Hun Fernamani of the Lochorman, August our Hun Winter Lochorman. It's Father Tommy Nick Fannocht, and Shaw, August Taw Lahuntag, Glamore. Are they doing Golair? August Beg, Crack a Gwing, and Shackton Shaw Coing, August on me Shaw Coing. Lady President, Jack Bookman, President of the GAA, and people of Wexford and Limerick. This is an unbelievable day for me and the Wexford team. I can't describe to you what it meant to be. It's been a boyhood dream of mine to Hurling Crow Park. That was my dream. Hello to captain of Wexford team and a great Wexford team to victory. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been described as the bridesmaids of hurling. Well, today we got married. Now, I want to start a few thank yous. And if I leave anyone out, please forgive me, because I don't know what really I'm saying up here. First of all, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Wexford Creamery, who stuck with us through thick and thin, and at last we brought them a bit. I'd like to thank the Wexford County Board. I suppose they were getting to the stage that they were nearly getting fed up sending teams to Crow Park, but at last we won something for them. Most importantly, I'd like to thank you, the people of Wexford, who stuck with us through thick and thin. Hurrah, Wexford! I'd like to thank our doctor, Dr. Stephen Bowe. I'd like to thank our 3 physios and our trainer, Sean Collier, Pat Whitney, Chris Kermore, Aidan O'Connor, who done the bandaging for us, and our special friend, Niamh Fitzpatrick. Now, I would like to thank Rory Kinsley and Seamus Byrne for the work that they have done for us, and they have done an unbelievable amount of work for us for the last 2 years. Now, I would like to thank one man that has made all this possible for us. People in Wexford didn't hear of Liam Griffin. But I'll tell you one thing, the whole world knows Liam Griffin now. Liam Griffin. Liam Griffin denies this next thing, but Liam Griffin really is the Messiah. Even though he says he's not, he's our Messiah. He led us to victory. Now, I would like to thank Limerick. Limerick gave us a very tough and a sporting match and a hard match and a physical match. And I would like you to give 3 cheers at me for Limerick. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! Now Garmin a boo! Oh my God!
So then, as Martin Storey lifts the Liam McCarthy Cup, it's going back to Wexford. What an incredible weekend, week, month even, it's going to be down there. One man who knows exactly what that feels like is Gerald Mann, who took that cup back to Clare last year. This is a great day for Wexford.
Wexford were absolutely heroic today. That is iron will that refused to bend no matter what happened. And in the second half there, when the game lost its shape because the man gone off, they battled it out like Olympic athletes. Their level of fitness, their commitment, they were prepared to put in their head but another person wouldn't put in their hurling. It's a fantastic day for Wexford. They'll be dancing at the crossroads down there for many a day after this. I know how it feels. Well done to everybody in Wexford. You were simply heroic and you deserve this victory like nobody else.
Well, 2 years ago, of course, it was another Leinster team that took that trophy. Michael Dighton, I'm sure, as a Leinster man, you're delighted for Wexford as well.
I'm delighted for Wexford. Long-serving players, Martin Storey, Billy Byrne, George O'Connor, I'd say they never thought to see the day. And we bet them in Leinster finals, league finals, and they were saying we're never going to win anything, and now to go along and win another. And as George said, the heroic men out there all over the field. Adrian fell in the middle of the field in the second half. He hurled Limerick on his own. And just to Limerick, hard luck to Limerick, 2 All-Irelands in 3 years to lose, and the Limerick supporters are going to be fierce disappointed, and hard luck to them, but well done, Wexford.
I'm sure, Ger, that you would share that sentiment. I mean, to lose 2 All-Ireland finals in 3 years, and especially this one, I suppose.
Oh, sure, it's heartbreaking for Limerick. You know, it's bad enough to lose, but to lose it against 14 men makes it even all the worse. But in fairness, Joe Quaid kept them in the game. They could have been annihilated today. Joe Quaid, and great work by the defence. They never threatened the forwards at all in the second half. You were looking around, you say, who's going to do it for Limerick? There was no sign of anybody. So they can have no complaints. They were lucky they'd get beaten by more. Sure. But it's very tough luck on them on the same.
It is, but as Wexford's Day, Gerald and Michael Dighton, thank you both very much for joining us on our panel here this afternoon. And on that note, we must wrap up from Croke Park. But we do so, of course, with a reminder to invite you to join us again for the Sunday game later on tonight. Now, we have many, many issues, of course, to decide on the Sunday game. We'll be looking back once more at today's match. We'll also have analysis of today's game with our panel. It will include Tomas McGahey and, of course, Cyril Farrell will be with us as well. And your views, of course, are always welcome on the programme. Let me give you our phone numbers tonight. It's 1850 851 851. That's if you're ringing from the Republic of Ireland, or if you're ringing from Northern Ireland, that number to ring is 0800 973 073. Also, of course, tonight we'll be naming our man of the match from this year's All-Ireland Hurling final. We'll receive that beautiful Waterford Crystal Trophy. Also, of course, his and hers gold watches. Whose is it going to be? Well, we'll find out tonight. Sunday game.
Two Wexford players playing a bit of football with that. This is Jerkosh. Well, those who predicted that he might be in trouble, far from it. Frankie Carroll towards Owen O'Neill. Oh, lovely pick up this time by Owen O'Neill. And he smashes it over the bar. His first point. So they're level for the 6th time.
Yes, the events of earlier today being applauded and enjoyed out at the Wexford team's victory banquet in Malahide, and being enjoyed also by their captain Martin Storey. So then for Wexford, the long wait is over. Liam McCarthy is heading back Slaney side, as Ger said, for the first time since 1968. Those famous film clips of Tony Doran leaping for joy, well, they won't exactly be forgotten, but at least now can be added to when we talk about Wexford hurling. While celebrations in the county will go on, you can be certain, for a very long time. But in fact, they began much closer to us here in Montrose earlier this evening, as some of the jubilant supporters made their way out through Stillorgan.
Oh, I'm not the better of it yet. It was terrific. Terrific.
I came all the way from Australia to watch this match. That's true.
And what did you think of it?
Oh, it was brilliant. Fantastic.
People wrote us off and said we were dead. But as we said today, like, we were the bridesmaids, but today we got married.
Tell me this, you had an interest in today, big interest in this.
Very big interest in today. My main interest today was the fact that my brother was the Wexford captain. And we hope from the very start, like, that when we got through the Offaly match that we kind of knew that we'd take the All, and we found it very hard for anyone to stop us, we thought.
We started Wednesday morning at 12 o'clock in Buffer's Alley, Tony Doran's country. She came out of Mr. John Whelan's yard at 12 o'clock. We painted her up on Wednesday night, and we got her ready, and we're here today, the whole way from Wexford. And she's flying. We're heading back now, she's really flying.
Tell me, what did you think of the match today?
Unbelievable. Still can't believe they won it. It was unnatural.
What was the best part of it?
Tom Dempsey putting the ball in the back of the net and Joe Quaid picking it out.
Yes, Herbie might have made it up from Wexford. Will it ever make it home is the question. Yes, happy Wexford people just up the road from us here a little bit earlier on. Well, not everyone, of course, was lucky enough to get to the match today, but I'm sure they enjoyed watching it on television nonetheless in hurling heartlands like Gorey, from where Helen McInerney reports.
Here in Gorey tonight, celebrations have begun for a victory that the people have waited for 28 years. In towns and villages throughout the county, the dancing has started at the crossroads. The atmosphere was electric as the Wexford supporters, lucky enough to get tickets to the match, returned home. But earlier in the day, it was a very different story, and as the final seconds ticked away, Wexford were ahead by only the narrowest of margins. And when the final whistle blew, the waiting was all over.
The minute they put us one man down, that made us twice as determined, and I knew we were going to win.
There'd be no depression, no sickness, never again.
But what of the disappointment of not securing a ticket for Croke Park?
Me, Dublin, everywhere I tried. Everywhere.
Like all those.
Like all those.
Like all those.
Couldn't get them at
Doesn't
all.
make any difference now anywhere, they won.
Well, now, just a moment ago, we saw the victorious Wexford team as they began the official celebrations at their banquet. Earlier on, they arrived at the Grand Hotel in Malahide to the cheers of those Wexford supporters who had been cute enough to find out where it was all taking place. Ger Canning had it sussed out as well. What have you been doing since the final finished?
Went for a couple of pints. Went up, trying to take it all in now at the moment is what I've been really trying to do.
Sum up your feelings after a terrific day.
Unbelievable. I mean, for me personally, after 11 years and a Bible dream come true, I can't describe it. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Wexford are Lorry Hurling champions 1996. That is us.
It's like destiny. We won it with 14 men. So I'd say it was the first team in hurling to win it with 14 men for I don't know how long.
Well, we'll be back again with Ger Canning and with Marty Morrissey to enjoy the Wexford celebrations. That's in about 15 minutes' time. Well, the other side of the coin sees Limerick coming to grips with their second All-Ireland defeat in 3 years. It, of course, is another bitter pill to swallow, and watching them take their medicine was our reporter Damien Tiernan in an area that's provided the nucleus of the Limerick team.
With 3 players on the starting 15, Gary Kirby, Kieran Carey and Barry Foley, supporters here in Patrickswell are feeling the pain of defeat more than most. The village, as you can see, is still nearly deserted, but fans have started coming home and the post-mortems have already begun.
They hadn't a look in the day. They had it up to date.
A lot of wides?
Yeah, a lot of wides, a lot of pressure, I'd say.
You're Barry Foley's sister. How do you think you played?
Very well. I'm proud of you, Barry. Oh, they're on the height of depression. They'll never get over this. There was a big build-up. There was a huge build-up to it. But they'll just have to accept it now, and that's all they can do.
Okay, you win some, lose some. Now, we're still very disappointed that we lost the year before last and lost this year.
Is it worse than 2 years ago?
It is, yeah.
They lost it again. And you're going to lose. And it won't happen again because they're gone now for a good few years. And it's a sad, sad story.
Well, a sad, sad story indeed. Well, earlier we saw the Limerick manager, Tom Ryan, pay gracious tribute to the Wexford team. The Burlington Hotel are hosts to the Limerick men this evening, and that's where Jim Carney went in search of a reaction from the Limerick players.
And welcome to the Burlington, where you can almost reach out and touch the trauma that all Limerick people are feeling here tonight after losing 2 All-Ireland finals in 3 years. But like the gentlemen they are, very sportingly, Joe Quaid and Stephen McDonagh have joined us to talk about the match. Both of them were outstanding today, but in a losing cause. Joe Quaid, 5 to 6 hours after the game, how did it go wrong?
It's very hard to describe it at the moment. We are feeling devastated. You know, we don't really know where it went wrong, and I suppose at the end of the day no one will really ever find out. We came up here with the best intentions to win the match. Things didn't happen for us on the day, so all we can do is try and get back up here again.
Joe, you were called on again today to make 2 more brilliant saves. There must have been a lot of pressure, judging by the fact that you had to make those saves.
I don't remember too much about them, Jim. I think one was in the first half. I couldn't really tell you who it was from. So to go in the first half, I was kind of disappointed with it. I just got caught on the wrong foot. But it's the saves, that's what I'm there for, that's my job. And every fella goes out in the day to do his job, whatever he's called on to do.
Stephen McDonagh, you played a great game at the back, but how did it look to you? What was happening up the field, where it was going wrong?
I suppose it's hard to say, really, Jim. You know, I thought maybe we crowded a small bit up front, but you know, you can be critical at times like this, and I don't think that's fair. Like, you know, everybody's in it together, the team, the panel, and the management, and at this time, like, it's very difficult to say what the problem was. You know, I felt myself, you know, we weren't good enough, and we just didn't win it. That's it.
Well, thank you, Jim. Never the best of assignments, having to chase a losing side in the All-Ireland final. Well, the Lee McCarthy Cup is sitting in the Grand Hotel in Malahide this evening in the proud possession of a host of Wexford players, mentors and fans, and that's where we'll be very shortly. Now, amongst other business, we'll be presenting this splendid Waterford Crystal Trophy to the Sunday game Man of the Match. All of that is coming up shortly. Now, don't forget that you can share your views with us by ringing 1850 851 851. Or, if you're calling from up north, that number is 0800 973 073. So then join us again in a few moments. I'll be getting the views of Tomás Mulcahy and Cyril Farrell before we join the victors' camp in Malahide.
A winter warning from Thompson's Waterproofing.
Got a flat roof. Let's face it, it's going to leak. So what are you going to do? Thompson's Roof Seal's easy to apply. It forms a waterproof barrier so rain can't get through. Leave it to chance. But the day your flat roof leaks, don't say I didn't warn you.
Thompson's Roof Seal, or Thompson's Water Seal for brick and concrete, from the complete range of Thompson's waterproofing products. Buy now, don't pay later.
Nestlé, the world's leading food company, invites you to celebrate Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, now showing at cinemas everywhere. A classic story that you can relive on the streets of Disneyland Paris with the spectacular Carnival of Fools. This autumn, be one of the first to join in the magic, because Nestlé invites you
And you're welcome back again. Well, still to come here on the programme, we'll be going back to that victory banquet for the Wexford team in Malahide. And of course, we'll also be naming our man of the match from this year's All-Ireland hurling final. But right now, it's time to get the views of our Sunday game panellists, Cyril Farrell and Tomás Mulcahy. Now, gentlemen, just ahead of that, before I get your views on it, let me share some views with you. Heaps of congratulations, obviously, to the Wexford team. They come from Joe Lawless in Mayo, from Jim McBride, County Leitrim, Maureen Sweeney, Castleknock, Evelyn Fitzpatrick, Galway, who says, however, that she thought Limerick were not the same team that won the Munster Championship because their hearts were not in it. Sister Rose Fowley rings in from Dunleary to congratulate Wexford. John Heenahan, aged 12, from Wexford, wants to congratulate his fellow countymen. David O'Brien from Cork says that he can't understand why the GAA are going to change the format next year. It's been one of the best years in hurling. If it's not broken, if it's not, don't fix it if it's not broken, is what he says. And Seamus O'Dowd, who's aged 10 from Sligo, says it was the best game that he has ever seen. Now, Cyril Farrell, it may not have been the best game we've ever seen, but a good wholehearted game of hurling nonetheless.
Oh, it was a great game, Michael. It was the best game in the last 20 years for Wexford, there's no doubt about that. And like they had 14 heroes wound up on the pitch and their sideline as well. Like, they'll be very, very happy tonight. You know, you'll have to feel sad for Limerick as well. It's their second final to lose in the past 3 years, and it's tough on them. But like, you couldn't take away from Wexford's win. Their will to win, their spirit would not be quenched. To me, that was the big difference. It just couldn't be contained. It wasn't that they were scoring and everything, you know, but they were just pointed to ahead the whole time, and they were willing to fight to the bitter end. And like, you know, the last done by Liam Dunn, to me, the run by Liam Dunn epitomised the spirit that was in the team.
Well, I suppose, Tomás, like, Limerick will be asking themselves this evening how they managed to lose 2 All-Irelands in 3 years. I mean, that's just the way it goes, unfortunately, sometimes. PJ Ruddy in Leixlip, County Kildare, is wondering how they lost with the extra man. He felt that there was mistakes made in the Limerick management. He says they didn't put the extra man in where they should have put him in, into the full forward line. This has to be a factor in it, I suppose.
Yes, I suppose that talk will come up over the next couple of days, Michael, but it's easy to be wise after the match, and when the match is going on, that's the time you have to make the key decisions, and unfortunately today, from Limerick's point of view, they went against them, you know, and I mean, it was great to hear Tom Ryan afterwards. I mean, he puts his hand up and straight away and he says Wexford were the better team on the day, and I mean, you have to have great admiration for Wexford the way they played today.
Sure. OK, gentlemen, let's look at various aspects then of today's All-Ireland final. And I suppose we'll start from a Wexford point of view, Cyril, and their winning of the match and how they won it. Earlier on in the game, Limerick were going well. I mean, it was 5 points to 1, I think, at one stage.
Yeah, Wexford got the first score. Larry Murphy got a great score, and I felt Thierry's going to have a fantastic game today. And the next 5 scores came from Limerick. And then Wexford came back into the game. Larry Murphy picked up a score. They got 1 or 2 points, and then Tom Dempsey got a goal off a breaking ball. Great ground shot. Joe Quaid is probably going the wrong way, and they were up a point. And, you know, the younger fellas started coming into the game. Gary Laffin had a very good game. He caused trouble all day. High ball going in. He was strong. He had both sides left and right. Now, Limerick has just got a score here. Watch this puck out from Joe Quaid. Down deep onto midfield. Now, young Rory McCarthy comes deep from the ball, straight in high. And here Laffin caused a lot of trouble. It bounces around, he gets this ball, turns on his right, and bang over the bar. Now, he was in hard luck, you know, for some great goals, but he was causing trouble all day. Any high ball went in there, or any ball went in, the Wexford full forward were very dangerous. And even when young Eamon Scallon was sent off, the 2 inside, Tom Dempsey and Gary Laffin, were still very dangerous.
Sure. Well, Wexford seem to be creating so many chances for themselves. Did the same thing in the Leinster final. In actual fact, we saw Joe Quaid interviewed earlier on there. If it wasn't for Joe Quaid, Limerick would have lost this by more.
Michael, that's the big difference to the last time that Limerick were beaten in the final. Here's a great ball in by Adrian Finn, a high ball in again. Again, there's more trouble. Watch Laffin underneath. He causes bother again. It's going to break down. He shoves the lead off. Now he gets this ball, does it a little bit over